Welcome back to the JACKOCAR Cup Series. We are restarting round 15 here at Austin, Texas. Grid will stay the same. Basically, nothing happened at the terminal anyway, except whatever crash caused the restart. So, do you know what? It was just better to restart it than join in on lap 3 or 4 on the safety car, whatever happened. So, yeah. Basically, we're going to the old F1 rules of, red flag, restart, let's start again. So, we're doing that. All 20 drivers still here. Weather should still end up being the same, although I do see a nice sunny graphic on the screen, which is a bit disappointing, but oh well. Suppose we'll have to deal with that. As no one wants to seem to ready up, Jacko. Has the weather actually been done, by the way?
I don't wish to comment.
Yeah, but why is it sunny?
It's not.
Good. Because there are people in the Twitter chat here who are very much questioning the weather, but I'm sure it's fine. So hopefully everyone remembers to put their setups on. Everyone can, just race normally. I don't know why this keeps happening to us. I genuinely, I honestly couldn't tell you if I'm cursed or anything, if this league's cursed, if it's just a bad game, but yeah, we can only apologise for this constantly happening. Anyway, enough of us being sad. We've got a formation lap to talk about again.
After the big build-up as well. It's always after we give it a build-up.
I know.
It fails, doesn't it? But never mind. We go again, as the kids say. I tell you what, once everyone readies up as well.
Oh yeah, I was looking at that time at the sort of screen thinking, good, but that's of course them just even loading into the lobby. I wonder why we only ever get a shot of the pit lane. Would it not be nicer just to get a shot of the grid, you know?
Or maybe some like strategy graphics so that they don't come up when the drivers are starting the race.
How about you just give us the intro, like the track map and stuff, and the track facts that you do in real life, you know, so that we can actually have something to talk about. Instead of this. So many things wrong with this game. I really just... You just have to accept it sometimes, though. But it's not a good game. Never has been. And we're getting rid of it at the end of this month. So, yippee.
Can't wait. You know, I was having this thought to myself the other day. When most F1 games go into retirement, certain leagues, I mean, we've done it as well, certain leagues will do like a special event or a 5-lap lobby to say goodbye to F1, whatever year it is. I can see this one getting binned off and forgotten about.
Yeah, this is one that will be celebrated worldwide as the end of a shambolic year. Everyone started on the same tyres that they did before, so well done for that. They didn't have to do that outside the top 10, but they have. And so, we basically sit in the same situation as we were before, and hopefully nothing goes wrong this time. The grid, for those of you who maybe weren't here actually for the first part and are joining this thinking, what on earth's a JACKOCAR and what is going on? It's Kieran on pole from Red Matt, Arnaud, J-Luke, Iceman, Casper, Yuri, Pete, Corey, Jake, Jamie, Gareth, Ben, OKK, Leroy, Connor, MK Bourne, Michael, Jess and Kanan. And for anyone who's wasn't here for the sort of standings in the championship, we do sort of sit here with the top 5 in the championship all separated by what was it? How many points actually is it? I think I'd said it was 12 points, or it's actually 8 points. I'd actually got that miscalculated. There's actually only 8 points the championship lead. It's kind of mad.
Isn't it?
It is kind of mad. And then you got Jamie, J-Luke, 4th place, 32 points behind. He needs to win one of the next 2 races, realistically, to get into this. But, this top 6 could be in a completely different situation at the end of tonight. And again next week. So, none of these Championship 5 spots are secure. There's a chance that Jake O'Sullivan could win the chase tonight. He would have to come from 10th to win. Realistically, if you want to get in there, guarantee it with a win. He might be able to do that, but we'll see. So that's something else to think about, but they would need quite the chaotic race for that to happen.
And also, taking Jamie right out of the equation, a win sorry, a DNF for anybody in the what is technically the top 5, puts them in a must-win situation next week, assuming the other 4 were to finish. So it's, you can play it safe and get the points done, but then be at risk to other drivers having a better race and winning and knocking you out and whatnot. Or you can go all out and try and win it at risk of crashing out yourself. Who knows, Owen? Because we don't, but we're going to hopefully find out on this time.
Yes.
In 28 laps time. Your stage points are lap 7 and lap 14 as we see the cars line up for the United States. This is only the second time we have been here in the Cup Series on this layout. Of course, we used to use the short track, but it's very much the long track for tonight, and it's that time of the evening.
Yeah, there's word of the short track perhaps coming back, actually, for the new game. That might be something to look forward to. But for tonight, we are running the full layout. And Kieran, once again, is going to have to look at that run to turn 1. He got it right last time. How is it going to go this time? 5 lights on in front of the drivers. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing. And it's not a good start for Kieran this time. Red Matt is straight into the lead. He'll be livid about that. Casper's had just as good a start as last time. Up to 4th once again. But on the inside, hits Arnold and nearly goes for a spin. Kieran's gone off just to avoid all of that, just in case he got involved. But it's Red Matt from Arnold and Kieran the top 3. Jamie Griffiths is falling through the field a little bit, and there's a few more cars scrapping through the S section. I'm really hoping they don't all come together though, because I might go and crash our game again. But it looks like, for the most part, it's a relatively good start. I do see a car though going for a spin, a couple of them in fact, and it is Leroy and it is Connor with Jess just trying to get through and then getting involved as Leroy gets himself back on track.
Yeah, I have to say, great driving from Kieran at the start. He had an awful launch, but on the exit turn 1, he purposely went wide, as you correctly pointed out, just to avoid carnage. And there was carnage, because Casper threw it up the inside. A great start from him, by the way. Made contact, and that forced, I think it was Jamie, into the path of where Kieran would have been. And Kieran, by the way, now chasing down Arnold in P2. So good driving from him as we come towards the end of the first lap.
Not a good start for Iceman. He's been done by Corey, who's right in the thick of it all now. And Pete's right on the scene as well, though I guess speed v speed. It probably won't be as frustrating for Iceman to deal with as Corey would be. But at the end of the first lap, is Arnold going to be trying to get his revenge on this track? Because there's a bit
Casper
of a grudge. Casper takes his first stop of the day already. Yuri is fighting away with Jamie Griffiths through the last corner. They've been fighting side by side for a while now and are continuing to do so all the way up towards turn 1. Can Gareth Hall get involved? He's basically just racing for fun at this point. And looks like Jamie Griffiths is going to win out in that scrap for now. So 3 pitters at the end of that one. 2 for damage, 1 for strategy. I'd imagine anyway it's damage for Leroy and for Connor, because they were the ones involved in the incidents, and indeed that is the case. They've all gone onto the medium combine tires. NK Bourne, the highest of the medium runners who started on them, and he's in 12th place.
I have to say as well, I think Casper might be 4 damage actually, because he was the car I referred to who went up the inside and touched another one. I don't know if it gave him maybe wing damage that we couldn't see, but if it is for strategy, he's in a very good place if we are to expect the rain later on. Yellow flags are out for a spinning Kingan on his debut.
Yes.
Driver number 69 goes for a spin.
Yeah. Stay tuned for more 69 jokes from Jacko only.
Well,
I don't want to be associated with this.
Last week was Arnold's 69th race, and Mike Kelterborn has led 69 laps in the Cup Series. That's all I've got for you. As Yuri and Jamie continue to fight over P9.
Yes, I'm sure Jamie Griffiths is very confused as to why Yuri's running Jamie's livery. So are we. Looks like Jamie's going to get ahead of fake Jamie once again, though. And, yeah. Yuri, why have you had to confuse us like this? It's so annoying. Oh, he's coming back on him now as well, for goodness sake. When's Gareth going to get involved? Come on, mate. We're in the same situation as we were on the last lap. Get your elbows out. Let's make this a freeway scrap. DRS enabled on this lap, so hopefully we will see a bit more of the scrapping throughout the field. Especially up at the front.
Gareth and Yuri continuing their Kia Series battles into the Cup Series. We have more yellow flags. It's for OKK with his obligatory spin.
Yeah. Not, unfortunately, all that surprising. It's happened a few times this season. Not having his best run, he's certainly looking forward to F1 22.
Indeed. As we come onto the back straight then, DRS for the first time are now dragging Kieran to Red Matt, who's actually pulling away, it would seem, probably dumping some ERS to hold on into turn 12, which he does. And Corey gets past Jamie Wright, who's going to try and come back up the inside, not this time.
Up into 4th place then, Corey, having a really good start to this race. And, that's from 9th on the grid, like, it's no mean feat that, and, 3 laps into the race already, so this is very good stuff from him. Let's see if he can keep this all up, as Kieran is hounding the back of Arnold, isn't he? But is there going to be any way through from in the near future? Because really, Arnold, they'll be desperate to get out of his way, as you see Redma, I think, was he going into the pit? Yes, he was. And so this is Kieran's opportunity, because Arnold isn't going to have any tow. He does still have DRS on the main straight, but on the back straight, Kieran should be able to strike. But, well, we saw Casper in the pits at the end of lap 1. He's had a couple of laps of undercutting. Is he going to be in a position to come out anywhere near? It doesn't look like it. He may have had to change a wing then.
Yeah, I think that confirms what we were talking about there. It was damage from turn 1, lap 1. But, of course, the race is not over. To tell him if it doesn't go your way, make sure you finish. Get those points, because they could be so valuable. Especially that point that Kieran got for qualifying on pole. That actually puts him ahead of Kieran. Puts Kieran ahead of Casper. So Casper currently out of the playoffs as it stands.
I'm wondering if when Kieran takes the lead of the race, he's going to stay out and get the playoff point as well, because he only has to do 3 more laps in the lead. And he may even be able to do it at the end of lap 7 coming into the pits.
What he'll be hoping to not happen is somebody to purposely bring a safety car out. Whilst he's leading, he will get the lap 7 stage point. But what's more important, staying on strategy or getting 1 point?
Well, if there is rain coming tonight, then you may not need to make the first stop all that early. Or you could even do a soft and then enter or something if it ends up that way. You know, of course, what the weather's going to do. And it looks like Kieran is staying out as we see Arnold into the pits. And that means that there'll be no one pressurising Kieran with DRS for now. And it'll be Corey who takes all the pressure. He's also into the pits, actually, sorry. So it would be possibly Jamie taking the pressure from Pete, but Pete isn't quite close enough. Jake sits in 4th place, just minding his own business, really. As long as he doesn't pick up the penalties like he did last week, he should be, like I say, the chase champion, I'd imagine, by the end of the season. But listen, if Pete can get a result tonight, then it could change. But as long as he's within arm's length of Jake, I think he'll be alright.
Yeah, of course, 3rd and 4th on track, separated by 7 points off track. At the moment, all this would do would give Pete a 2-point gain on Jake, obviously with the extra playoff point you get for finishing on the podium. But all of these front runners yet to make their pit stops, so you have to look as far down as P9. Redmat is the lead driver who has made a mandatory stop. In fact, all stops so far have been mandatory. No VSCs or safety cars yet. Not that VSCs actually count against your mandatory stops. But Redmat's starting to close the gap on Ben Harrett, who's who's closing the gap on Sully in front.
So we're looking at Redmat there, and he's on a bit of a DRS train with Ben and Ben Harrett on the back of Michael Sullivan. So this might lead to Redmat possibly being under a bit of pressure from Arnold. Arnold who, well, look at the sliding from Redmat. I'm sure Arnold will think about trying to make a move work as Redmat goes off and gets a free setting time penalty. Wow. I don't know if I've ever seen... I don't think I've ever seen anyone pick a penalty up at that corner. What a time to do it. And Arnold will love watching that, because it makes him essentially the net race leader. And
Arnold, go on.
I tell you what, with all this blocking that's being... It's not blocking, but it's all the being stuck behind people in a DRS train. This could also help anyone staying out long, like Kieran and like Jamie, as we see at the inside. Redmat does get himself past Ben Spurt, but where is Jamie? Jamie is
he's ahead of Corey.
He's ahead of Corey, and as long as he gets past Keenan quick enough, he can then start to pressurise like Arnold and Redmat. So, he's off the track though as well, and may well have picked up a warning for it. Perhaps Kieran staying out is the better thing to do, because all these guys surely will lose a little bit of time stuck in all this mess. I mean, look at Arnold. He's stuck again, trying to get himself past Ben, and surely at the inside he has to. If he wants to try and stay in touch here with the net race leader, Red Matt, he's got to go now, because Red Matt will surely be getting past Michael on this lap. And he will indeed.
The only thing that goes against Kieran is, I don't know if you noticed it, but Jamie actually closed a second on him before he pitted. He went from 3.5 to 2.5. So Kieran has been struggling with the rear on those soft tyres. They're not his qualifying tyres, mind you, because this is a race restart. So just maybe struggling for rear traction out the corners. But he will lead at lap 6, one more, and he will get the stage point for lap 7, which we have just begun as Pete Knight in pits.
And look at this, Michael under a bit of pressure as he got overtaken by Arnold. Now is going to have Ben and Jamie all over the back. And that's all so close. This could be a safety car situation if this goes wrong, and it could easily do so. Jamie's going to want to try and get both of these guys in one go. Unfortunately, Michael's going to end up falling down the pack here. I can't really see any other way for that to go for it, but here comes Jamie up towards turn 1. Ben defends, and Jamie, he might get him on the exit, but he doesn't. And the time just slipping away from him as Corey desperately tries to get himself past Kanan, as Jamie does get through in front of Ben.
Let him through. The ART teammates are working together there. Not that there's teams
Corey,
anymore.
Contact with the back of Kanan. Hopefully no front wing damage, because that could wreck his championship. As you see him
following very closely behind as well. Kingan has another moment in front of Corey.
Yep, there goes Iceman.
Corey.
Side by side, but he's boxed in here. Corey's got no choice but to dive up the inside. And so does Iceman.
Iceman, look at that, what a move. That's a championship move. He wants to go to Saudi Arabia.
Well,
and that's a move he had to make.
He sees Pete right behind him, so he's got to get a move on as well. As Redmac gets in front of NK Bourne, puts another cover between himself and Arna, but here comes Corey and here comes Iceman. Can Iceman get himself through as well on Ben? Yes, he can. And so it gives these two a little bit of breathing space. Actually, surely all this fighting must have helped Kieran a little bit as he comes into the pits. Keep an eye on the lap counter. He does pick up that point, so that works out well for him. Jake now takes the lead of the race, so he's under pressure if there's a safety car that comes out, but has the free air helped Kieran out? Because all the fighting in the pack, which is still ongoing, he's going to join it at some point. Speed limiter disappears now. Now, let's see where he's going to be as he comes towards turn 1. Do you know what? He's side by side with the let race leader and almost into him as well. But for Kieran, honestly, I don't think he'll be too upset about that. He's got himself in front of NK Bourne and Arnold, so that has worked out nicely.
Massive, and nearly, as you say, nearly got Red Mat. Don't forget, Red Mat is carrying that penalty. So now we wait for the rain, because it is meant to happen. I just don't know when, because the weather is only on approximate. Red Mat struggling through that corner.
Can Kieran, I don't know the name of it. Can Kieran get himself through? Because will he sense his first opportunity is now, or will he wait until they've gotten themselves past Gareth? He'll be with.
He might use Gareth.
He could, but he'll have so much confidence right now. He's using his ERS. He's dumping this full energy, and look at Gareth weaving along on the straight. He doesn't want Red Mat coming through. As Ryan outside, he tries it. There's contact! And this is going to seriously help Kieran out if he can just find a way through. Redmat has to fight hard, but is it too hard? Kieran gets boxed in, no way through. Arnold will start to catch up because he's got himself in front of NK Board as we see Gareth nearly taking Redmat for a spin. And now Kieran gets by him with no trouble whatsoever, and now we're watching the fight for the on-track lead, because you can see Jake into the pits. Remember though, Kieran, thanks to the penalty, he's already leader, and look at the pressure he's putting on Redmat. He could have him up into turn 1 here, and let's see if he can do it. A bit of a slide on the exit, but he has DRS, he has ERS, and do you know what? He's just going to sit back. He wants to do it on the back straight where he has a much bigger zone. And Redmat,
here comes Arnold.
He'll be a sitting duck to Arnold as well at this rate, because he doesn't seem to have much pace. He really doesn't. Look at Kieran all over him. I think Redmat's trying to let him go past. You'll almost see them slowing themselves down on the back run to the DRS detection point. So Arnold, do not discount Arnold. In fact, we're right on board, and you'll see how much he closes up on these two, because I'm sure they're both going to be putting the anchors on here.
I just wonder if Red Matt wants Kieran to go past,
Yeah,
which he
oh,
does.
he's done it, but look at Arnold! It doesn't work out at all! It doesn't work out at all! And that's why I was sat on board with Arnold, because you knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, I think he wanted Kieran to drag him in the DRS train away from Arnold, because Kieran's the fastest man on track at the moment. But Red Matt, in turn, has lost out to Arnold, and that was very much a battle for the top three, with Gareth and MK in there. J-Luke is about to make a move on his teammate MK Bourne. That won't be too difficult. But yeah, that's not worked out for Red Matt at all. Kieran leads the race.
I just don't see what he was thinking now. I mean, he knows Kieran's quicker than him in this particular phase of the race, but don't just throw a position away to Arnold. If he drags past you on the back straight, you get DRS for next time. Has he got front wing damage or something? Because he's struggling a lot. The confidence maybe he's even floor damage, something. Because the confidence he had at the start of the race is absolutely gone. And Jamie, I think, had some sort of incident in the final corner because he was all over Gareth, and then suddenly it was NK Bourne all over him. And there's no moving to turn one from this lap because he'll be wanting to catch up on all this to try and capitalise.
Corey and Iceman side by side into turn one, and Corey gets the move done.
That's a vital move.
Tried to hang it around the outside, but yeah, vital indeed. There's a point gained on Iceman.
Iceman,
if he finishes there.
Is he the lowest of that top 6 in the championship as it stands? Or who's lower?
No, Casper.
Apart from Casper, sorry. But it would still, if Jamie can find a way to win this race, he doesn't want to be there because he'd suddenly go from championship leader to outside of the top 4 if Jamie can get himself up the field, and he's doing it at the moment. Kieran has a broken DRS, by the way, and Jamie has broken into the top 4.
Amazing what a win can do for you, isn't it? Kieran with so much confidence and form, and the right time of the season to hit that form as well, as J-Luke finally gets past Gareth with the DRS down the back straight.
And let's say,
and into turn 12 they go.
His advantage will only keep getting better because he's got 3 lap fresher tyres, and if the rain comes later than expected, he'll have the extra tyre life. And even if it doesn't come later than expected, he just has tyre life. He can push a bit harder.
Wow. Iceman up the inside of Gareth. Sorry, Owen. There's so much going on in this battle for P5, which Corey is the lead of right now.
I noticed that Jake's actually in all this is finding himself in front of...
he's just... Not anymore.
Not anymore. That could be vital for the Championship 5. It really could be, because he'll lose so much for this. I was going to say he'd find himself in front of Pete, but Pete suddenly has found himself in front. And NK Bourne fighting away there with Iceman up the hill, which is nice to see, but he might lose the position. He hasn't pitted yet, so he's trying to stick it out long. But now Pete then finds himself in a much nicer position, thanks to Jake's mistake. And that 7-point lead in the chase to Jamie Griffiths could fall today because he's only he's in 10th place, so that could be a costly error that we've just seen.
You never know, but of course rain to come, we are told, we are expecting, but will it happen? Pete now on the back of MK Bourne. He's going to... whoa! Was that a brake test?
Well, it's a very suspicious one, isn't it? But that now does promote Jamie Griffiths into a very nice position. Although he does have the penalty, so if Yuri can close that down, he is the next guy in line. And maybe he can do something about it. But all the top 3 is somewhat compromised in the chase. Fascinating
Pete
stuff.
Will be absolutely raging about that. From my perspective, it looked intentional, but we just don't have all the views.
I mean, we've had this happen before. Was it Pete last season where he took a certain championship contender's front wing off at the end of the race? The weird things happen on this track.
I think actually, you know what? I've taken Yuri's wing off on this track before on the back straight in a one-hub race. We were messing about at the back, we were way out, so I do remember that. But that wasn't for a position in anger. We were messing about. That one from Mike looked very, very sus.
I'm guessing that's a put the brakes on, try and get DRS a la Redmat, and it's ended somehow worse. As we see side by side, Jamie being pushed wide by Gareth Hall, who on 11 lap Old Sauce is doing a bang-up job, it has to be said. That is very impressive that he's not in the wall. Although he could be soon if Jamie keeps pushing him around like that. Don't lose another front wing in this race.
It is starting to swing Yuri's way, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
in terms of shape. No, maybe not.
Oh
maybe
my
not.
goodness,
maybe not.
Right, who's next in line? Connor in 17th.
Okay. I
Might
just don't know
actually,
who's...
might actually
So
be
maybe-
Ben Harrod. We'll go give it Ben Harrod. Although actually, Jake's gonna be ahead of that, so maybe it's back in Jake's favour.
I was going to say, it swung so much, it swung back to Jake. So Chase Championship back on for the young man in the number 40 car. Into turn 11 he goes. But what's happening at the front? Kieran has a hell of a gap on Arnaud, by the way. 2.5 seconds. He's just driving his own race.
Yeah, the pole sitter. He's on his way to getting a second stage put in the race as well. He's here for the lot.
Yeah. I tell you what, we've never ever seen anybody sweep all the available points. And that'd be pole, fast lap, both stages, and the race win. We're talking 24 points and a place in the Championship 5 if Kieran can do it.
Well,
2 seasons in a row it'll be.
Fastest lap won't happen because that is Redman's. And they won't be
At the moment.
they won't be pitting for dries again, though, will they?
Looking at the sun, they might. But I 100% I selected rain for this, as per the original race.
We're told.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't think they'll be pitting again because these mediums will last to the end of the race anyway. So they're basically doing that. This is actually a normal one-stop these lot are doing. It's just that there'll be rain later on, so it sort of negates the whole two-stop factor. Now, who's this off? Is that Kanan again? And where's he? Don't think he's lost his front wing though, so that's not going to bring a safety car or anything like that out. All 20 drivers still in the running. As Corey, fighting there with J-Luke, gets himself up into 4th position. J-Luke, he's this isn't going to plan, is it? He's nearly, what, 10 seconds off the leader. He's getting towards that point. Could we be looking at the end of the 2-time champions run for number 3? Could we be watching that?
Yeah, I have this ongoing joke with Jamie that he only wins championships that are even numbered, season 2 and season 4. And of course he has horrible luck in the odd ones. Season 1 he was a reserve. Season 3 we don't talk about Canada. In season 5 he comes into it minus 32 and falling away from the leader. But can he produce a miracle tonight, or maybe next week if it rolls on to then? He is the post-season merchant, 8 wins, which is more than anybody else in the league.
And to think, I mean, if it, just 1.5 laps, all he had to survive last week, and he wouldn't be in this situation. He'd be right in the fight with everyone else. Yeah. And I tell you what, it wouldn't even change Kieran's predicament, because look where he is right now. You know, I mean, oh, Jamie. Well,
Jamie
still
would
time.
Still be,
still time.
Yeah, Jamie would still be last on points, but he'd be a hell of a lot closer. And, P5 would not be the end of the world for him. Whereas P5 right now, in this situation, it's getting close to the end of the world. But here he comes on Corey for P4. And through he goes, nice and easy. Will Corey fight it? Nope.
Iceman was putting a lot of pressure on there. And Iceman, I mean, as it stands, he would probably be falling to 4th in the standings at the end of today. Which is kind of mad, considering where he's been. I swear he's been pretty much at the top of the playoffs for the whole run.
I think he's... no, he hasn't. He's been the regular points leader ever since round 4, to my understanding, or round 5, something like that. As Kieran picks up the stage 2 point.
Well, like I say, he needs a bit of a miracle to find a fastest lap with people on loose softs, but he's certainly been getting every point apart from that as it stands. But we saw last week when Corey was dominating the race in the wet. As soon as it became dry, he wasn't dominant anymore. Of course, safety cars helped in that as well, and they could again tonight. Imagine a safety car when we have the changeable conditions. It's happened before, and you can't really realistically pit there because while it wouldn't be a mandatory, it'd only be worth it if everyone did it, but then you'd have to pit again. So you may end up, if that happens, with a situation of people restarting a wet race on dries. So you could still see that at some point. So that's the one thing I'd be worrying about with these changeable conditions that are coming later on. And I wonder who all have made insurance pit stops as we lose Yuri or Leroy from the race. We get a full safety car for that. I don't imagine it's going to start raining at that point. I actually don't imagine anyone's going to pit, apart from maybe MK4, but even then, well, you might as well, no, there's no point. You've made no stops. I mean, do you know who this helps, Jacko? This helps Casper a hell of a lot.
It's someone who needed. We've not really focused on Casper, have we? Sorry, with his lap 1 stop. We don't know what his pace is in regards to the top 6, who is where the interest is at the moment. So
actually, it also, if anything, it actually helps Jake the most. I'm just like I'm just spitballing because there's only one scenario where I'm thinking here. But if changeable conditions do come and you want to switch to intermediates under a safety car, if you've made your full mandatory stops, you can do that with no problem. As we see, Arnaud and Co, a lot of these lot are into the pits. Interesting. That is interesting. So they're taking the risk to fall down the pack. But like I say, if you've made your 2 mandatories of, you know, I do think you're in a strong position, but these guys putting sauce on in anticipation just to be very, very, very fast. And hopefully to get to the front, and then when rain comes, pit. And, you know, it might not have been a bad idea, because Arnaud comes out 4th place. That's an interesting strategy. But if the rain comes quick enough for Kieran to not lose out, then he'd be happy enough. But look at this top 2 now. Kieran and Corey. Corey was not a happy boy last week, because he felt a bit robbed, even though it was low-key, like, his fault. Just don't get overtaken, innit? But he can get his revenge this week. But my goodness, the strategy brains are whirling right now, and I'm gonna just stop talking about it now, because I think I've made the same point about 6 or 7 times, and I'm pretty sure it still doesn't make any sense to anyone. If it happens, I'll explain it there, but if it doesn't, we'll just leave it here.
Don't mind me recording all these non-mandatory stops, which is a list of Arnaud, Redmat, J-Luke, Mike, Jamie Griffiths, Yori, Casper, Gareth, Michael O'Sullivan, Connor, Kingan, and Jess.
That is a lot of softs now on these cars. I do wonder if this top 3 have actually made a mistake. I didn't expect this many people to pit.
That was really 12 out of 19 pitted there.
I don't think any of them expected that to happen. I don't think it would have happened unless Arnaud went in first as well. If Arnaud didn't bother, I don't think anyone would have.
No.
But when you see the established stars of the league pitting in that situation, you follow them.
Yeah, they know JACKOCAR. That's the experience shining through, and Arnaud only losing 2 places because of it. 70 race starts for that man.
I wonder if Jake might actually take a pit stop, because he may only lose 2 or 3 spots. I would have been pitting if I was him, because look at the massive gap behind Pete. I know Pete is like your rival and all that, but you'd be on better tyres. The problem is you'd get done by Jamie Griffiths anyway, who's on new tyres, but he has a penalty, so surely you pit, right? And you just, I don't know. I suppose if the train catching up now, maybe he would have lost more than 2 or 3 positions, but he stayed out anyway. Safety car should be coming in hopefully at the end of this lap, if not the next one. Jess possibly might hold that up, but we'll see. Still no clouds in the sky, all ready to rain down on us. It's taking its time. How late have you set this rain for, Jacko? Are we going to be scrambling around in the last 2 laps here for intermediates?
For a 50% race, you get 3 boxes, so you can split your 50% race into 3.
Right, so yeah, good maths there.
Yeah, I don't know what I was going with. I had 17 in my head for some reason. But yeah, so you got three boxes. The first box was sunny, the second box was overcast, and the third box was light rain. So in theory, we should be on the overcast bit right now.
We'll be crossing over in about a lap then to potential rain starting to come into the air.
Yeah, because the boxes where you can set the weather, they are not set times, they are rough. Unless, of course, you tick perfect weather conditions. We've only gone for approximate, which is in the league rules. So
I do actually wonder if the actual time of day conditions, because if you look up to the sky, you're not really seeing much, are you? Because the sun actually is so bright. I mean, look on board with Kieran, you're not going to see any clouds there, are you? So I do wonder if that's probably going to, just confuse the drivers a little bit, unless the sun just disappears as soon as the clouds arrive. But it's a very unique situation, I think, with the way the time of day is here. We don't tend to see this too much in League Race, and I wonder how they're prepared for it.
Well, the weather in this game changes so quickly as well. There is a crossover period, but it goes from bright to grey like that. It's so quick. So it can still happen. I do have the footage to prove that I selected it as well earlier on, about 42 minutes ago now. But we'll worry about it when it happens, if it happens. Right now we have JACKOCAR's newest race winner about to do a restart.
Yep, Corey right behind, looking some revenge. And they're away. Oh, Corey just, oh no. He hesitated, he had it, but then hesitated. Will he go for the move anyway? Yes, he will, up the inside. That's way too deep. He may lose a couple of positions for that. Oh no!
Corey,
and it's a big one, that, because I think Iceman survives it. Okay. I thought he was going to go as well. Jamie, he's up into second place, but he's had to cut the track. He's got to stay calm here because he's in a superb position because there's no safety car coming out here. And Corey and Arnold at the back. Corey hasn't even got out of the gravel yet. Arnold out of the race. And, well, that's all really Corey's doing, isn't it?
It is. By the way, Jake up to P4 ahead of Iceman. But yeah, the road to 800 is not an easy one for Arnold. That's another retirement for him.
Look at this. And the reason I was looking at Iceman is because he got hit hard as well. I was worried he was going to spin as well. But we got five or six cars, by the way, on this back straight, all fighting away. Who comes out on top there? This is throwing the whole season into a bit of chaos. Because, I mean, Casper, if Casper can just find his way through all this, you know, he'll still be in the top 4 of the championship at this rate by the end of the day. Although, Jamie is fighting away with Kieran now, side by side. Redmat's into the lead. I actually missed that happening. But this actually now means that J-Luke is our net race leader thanks to the penalty. And so, he's...
What a season.
How has he done this then? How has this happened? This is ridiculous.
This is JACKOCAR for you. Oh, and don't we just love it?
Kieran's going to be kicking himself. Kieran's going to be kicking himself right now. But I suppose it's an impossible decision to make. And Iceman did have damage from the hit. And so he's into the pits as well. So that's, oh my goodness. So that's Corey. It's Iceman. Both in trouble. It's just unbelievable. But they're still in the race. They're still in the race. That's the important thing.
Yeah, they just have to get the points. Doesn't matter what points, just get the points because it may help you next week. I think Iceman might be suffering from side pod and floor damage after that hit because it was so hard. I'm surprised Corey still has all 4 wheels on his wagon, but Arnold is the one who went out, and he'll have to come again and try and get to 800 points another day, as there's fights all over the circuit, and I don't know which one to concentrate on.
Well, the fight for the lead looks pretty quiet at the minute, actually. Redmat has put his foot down and is just about a second clear. I'm sure J-Luke will try and do something to get into there. He must know.
Oh!
In the pits. That is unbelievably stupid as well. Unbelievably stupid.
That is silly.
It'll cost him a championship.
It'll cost him a shot at a championship. That is silly.
No, look
you
at this.
always stay to the end. Pick up, even if it's 1 point, you pick up the points. We saw last season when it was Vitinho versus Pete, and what was it, Jordan overtook Vitinho, and Pete advanced on countback because of a single point that he got. But yeah,
Casper,
silly for Corey to retire.
Up to 8th place. Up to... Oh no! Safety car possibly for that, as Pete spins into the wall. Surely we might get at least a virtual safety car for that. But I think we're getting away with it. Someone else has gone as well. That's just Corey's car parking up. I'm amazed that that's not but a safety car. Pete smashing the wall. But okay.
I'm amazed he's still in this race.
Yeah.
I thought he was a goner, but just no wing.
We can see the overcast starting to appear, by the way, Jacko. Very quick. Look at that. That's ridiculous.
I told you it was quick, didn't I?
It's like magic, isn't it? You can actually just see it happening. Suddenly it'll be raining in 30 seconds. That's
and
mad.
Who's really good in the wet as well, and currently P2.
Well, we know a little bit about this guy. His name is J-Luke. Now,
the all-time race winner, the 2-time champion J-Luke.
And let's say Jamie Griffiths, by the way, he is having one of his great nights at the minute, because yes, he has a penalty, but he's on the sauce. If he can just make the 3-second gap to Jake, he may still end up finding himself finishing in front, and it could set him up for next week in Japan. So he is very much still on course for a chance at the Championship 5.
It's so dark. Even in this half a lap since you first mentioned it, it's got dramatically darker.
Yeah.
And these guys, well, the two leaders have to pit again.
This is it. Who doesn't have to pit? Just in case the rain doesn't get heavy enough, quick enough.
It's Jake. Jake is the net race leader.
Yeah, so Jake has a little bit of leeway here. Say there's an accident happens now. You know, an accident happens even when the rain starts to come down. He can pit under that safety car. And that's why I brought this up earlier, because he now finds himself P5, no penalties. If there's a safety car and the rain comes down, he can pit. The rest can't, they're screwed. So, yeah, he'll be sitting here possibly quietly confident, but this is where Jamie Griffiths has to make his gap. But he isn't really, because Kieran has done very well to stay within just 4/10. And so, yeah, this is working out nicely. And then Casper, obviously, the car behind. What a recovery that is. So,
yeah,
wow. Just wow.
Kieran can't afford to lose any time to Jamie, though. If anything, they should work together and try and get back up to the leaders. Because, well, both of them can still win this race, in theory.
And through goes Kieran then, but nearly hit by Jamie Griffiths on the exit, actually, but they've made it through alive. Nicely done. Oh, look at this, though. Jamie's going to come back. Don't take too many risks on this one. Like I say, you don't want to have Jake catching up, but when you're going side by side, it's with a right-hander, you're kind of asking for it. And mind you, Jake's got his own problems. He's got Casper all over him now. Rain's still not falling yet, by the way. We are still waiting for that to happen, but it's going to happen.
Is that the penalty-stricken Casper as well? Do you remember these two from Monaco last season, Owen? Casper and Jake? I shouldn't have to remind you.
Remind me, please.
But it was Casper who went up the inside of Jake.
Oh, is that what caused all that? Ah,
and that's what caused Jake to miss out on Championship 5.
You see, I always remember what happened at the very end of the race, where he had, what was it, Jake with no front wing running about at the end of the race, Beto was sitting by Redmat. You forget what caused that.
I think Kyle won the race, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, because Arnold stacked it on the final lap. One of the dramatic finishes in JACKOCAR.
We've had some moments, haven't we? 80 races down. 6 laps away from having our 81st complete in the USA. I think we're going to be coming back here once again.
I was on board with Ben there. He very nearly put a safety car out, and he gets overtaken by Michael.
Oh, it's raining. It's raining.
Right, what do we do then? As Jamie gets himself back past Kieran, this is where you will just be starting to drive a little bit more carefully, because it is so crucial. Connor, by the way, on no penalties, is making his way through the field into 7th place. That could be very important later on. As we said, he keeps finding himself finishing the race in the top 5. So, you know, he could be there again. Let's see who would possibly think about pitting on this as well. Top 2 say no. Top 4 say no. Casper says yes. He's into the pits, Jacko.
This is brave.
This is brave. Well, this covers you on a safety car as well if you do this.
Yeah, but he's already done his mandatory stop, so this can only really be for intermediates.
Yeah, it has to be. I mean, you can see why they're doing it, though. You can see why they're doing that, because look at the rain. It is going to be coming down. I mean, it looks drivable right now, but you don't want to be out there in this.
Oh, well, that could be the moment that wins Casper, or wins himself a shot at the Championship 5. What about Cajman? How's he getting on? Because he was with Casper, don't forget. Has he left the lap too late? Is it an inspired call from the Finn? And we know the Finns love their extreme weather conditions.
Tell you what, Redmat's taking it very easily out there. He is, I think he fancies the pit lane, to be honest, on this lap. But DRS is still active, and Casper is losing time on this outlap. So I suppose, as of right now, the dry tyre still appears to be the ticket, but it can't last. Look how bad the conditions are getting in Sector 3 as it stands. The red man just crawls himself through. Jamie
These races
does
are crazy,
look.
aren't they?
Jamie does look that bit quicker through there, but I think they're all going to be on their way into the pits on this lap. Although Casper is still losing a bit of time. I think he's only now just started to claw it back. And
So now
yeah,
this is
red
the lap
map
then.
pits. Red map pits. Jamie also into the pits. They'll all be careful not to understeer into the pit wall. That will be a worry for them. I'm going to keep my eye on this because I'm sure someone hit the wall last season on the way into the pits. And yellows. That's Kanan off for a spin, not into the wall, crucially. And they're all in the pits, every last one of them. No one's even thinking about staying out. And it's the right thing to do. DRS is disabled.
It is everyone as well, isn't it? Look at that. Pit road's so busy. But what about Casper?
Casper come out then?
Oh, he's nowhere near. He's nowhere near.
Not near the leaders, but will he at least come out where he was? Well, no, he doesn't, because Connor's got himself in front of him. Although, through turn 1, very nicely done there from Casper. He should be through now. So, I mean, it hasn't actually worked out, because it now puts Connor in front of him on the penalty. And, well, let's see how this race is going to finish. The thing is, Jamie sits here knowing, just stay within 3 seconds. Easy as that. You've won the race. And you're into the championship
32.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous, isn't it?
And don't forget as well, Jamie, he's been to 2 championship 5s and won them both. He has 100% hit rate.
Oh, and here comes Kieran as well now on Jamie. Again, another driver. Just stay within 3 seconds and you finish 3rd. But looks like he wants to go for the pass anyway. VSC!
Oh, okay.
And Pete gets to pit under that VSC. I wonder if he's the one who caused it. He's replaced his front wing. I'm sure he was hoping for that to be a full safety car, but not quite.
That suggests that there might be some damage on track, so be very careful in that 3rd sector. Boys that are coming round now, the leaders.
Do we reckon he's hit the pit wall? I'm sure someone will have done it today. As he comes out of the pits very gingerly, as you would expect in these conditions, on the dries. I'm keeping my eyes on this.
He hasn't selected his tyre, has he?
Nope.
Oh, Pete.
For the culture, stick it in the wall, put a full safety car out. Go on.
Well, and have a repeat of last season.
That wouldn't be controversial at all.
Not at all. It would also be a race ban this time around. Free race ban, in fact.
Look at him. It's awful. But he's getting himself around somewhat. The problem he will have, if the VSC comes in good time, is that the leaders will be coming up on this. And, I mean, if he ends up in for a spin or something, I don't actually know whether VSC's still out, but it's helping Pete not get caught. Although he has just put his foot down.
Yeah, he was
So
in the red, wasn't he?
That's brave. There we go, we're going green. I'm still sticking with him, because this is quite entertaining to watch. It's always fun to watch someone on the complete wrong tyres make a fool of themselves, but here he is, and sadly, we could be watching the end of another championship season for him, thanks to this.
4 in a row. It is, unfortunately, as well, and it is a fact.
Oh no.
The longest championship drought by anybody.
The leaders are catching him. The leaders are catching him. Oh, pick your moment, people. Pick your moment to lose it. Because, oh my goodness.
Well, J-Luke has found 6 temps on red mat since we went green.
Oh,
here we go. It's Kieran season 4 all over again.
How much of the front wing went missing? Not enough for a full safety car, I wouldn't imagine.
And it was all on the grass, so no one should be running over that. He's got to get back to the pits.
Yeah, just get into the pits now. But don't hit the pit wall, for goodness sake.
The gap's 1.4, by the way, and Pete makes it safely to the pits.
Just about.
Just about.
As the leaders pass him now, and yeah, Pete retires. I think he's accepted his season's over, so that is basically season over for him. As we watch again, Kieran on the back of Jamie. 3 to go here in the United States.
What's going through J-Luke's little mind right now?
A lot, I'd imagine.
I imagine he's thinking, win and you're in. He's thinking of Mexico last week when he could have won, but he didn't. I imagine he's thinking, I could have another shot at the championship, or I could easily lose this. It's so conflicting. Every which decision or scenario he thinks of.
I tell you what else as well. What is Corey thinking? Do you reckon he's even put the stream on? Do you reckon Corey's like feeling sorry for himself right now? Because if Jamie wins this race, Corey's going to fall down into that 5th place.
Yeah.
And he retired, so he doesn't pick up any points. You know, this could be such a costly mistake. Such a dumb mistake as well. And it's because of his impatience. And it could cost him a run at the Championship 5. Because this is, honestly, for us, best case scenario, Jamie winning the race. Because it means that we go into Japan next week with an absolute classic inbound.
Yeah, and not knowing... So Jamie is going to be the only one confirmed.
That's ridiculous.
For Championship 5. Amazing. Minus 32 to Championship shot. How about that?
And can I just point out as well, Jake did pick up a penalty, so he will... unless Jamie's got more than 3 seconds. Hold on. They've both got 3 seconds, so Jamie here is going to get a couple of points, or maybe just a point, on Jake and the chase. And so that will still be very much alive going into the finale.
A lap led for Matthew Redmore.
Connor as well may just stay within the 3 seconds of Casper, and that gives him a couple of extra points as well. So that could still be alive in the finale. Oh,
I'll tell you what, despite the penalty, Red Matt, you know, worst case he's going to be P2 here.
It's not. It's not the end of the world. He's not sealing his place in Saudi Arabia, but he's getting a march on. He'll be one hand in the Championship 5. It's Iceman, it's Casper, Corey, Kieran, where the battle is going to be interesting. And Connor's actually just fallen outside 3 seconds, so he'll be finishing 7th today, unless Iceman can pass him. But, well, it was about at this point on the penultimate lap last week where we saw Jamie careering into the wall in the lead. Although, in fairness, it actually wouldn't have changed all that much for tonight, because again, he's going to win this one anyway, by the looks of it. But
don't say that. Don't say that.
But that will have been probably the most gut-wrenching moment for him and JACKOCAR. What a way to bounce back from it. And it was because he made the pit stop under the safety car. It was a stroke of genius, as it turned out, and he got his foot down on the restart lap and made it work. And we sit here with 1 lap to go. Jamie, you've got to save in 3 seconds, because if you fall outside the 3 seconds, you're straight back into the danger zone. So this is seriously going to be possibly the most tense lap he's ever driven. I just hope it's not too tense and he overcompensates and has something go wrong.
He's done alright for the last 10 laps, keeping it in that penalty window. But as you correctly point out, 1 to go here in Austin. Jamie eyeing up a 3rd Cup Series title. When we went 3 in a row with different champions, we thought it would never be done, a double champion. We certainly never thought triple champion. But he is in place to give himself the best possible opportunity to do that. The gap has extended though to 2.2.
Yeah, it's happening.
It was 1.7.
The thing I was worried about him doing, he doesn't want to crash, but he doesn't want to lose too much time. I mean, he's still got a somewhat comfortable gap. It would need Red Matt to do something quite extraordinary in the final sector, but it could happen. I'm going to sit on board with Jamie the whole time. We're on board to the flag, because I can't imagine Kieran's going to take a risk here as we lose Keenan at the start of the final lap. I don't imagine Kieran taking a risk when he's guaranteed 3rd place. Jamie losing more time still, but like I say, it really needs a horror show of a last sector. And
to throw it back last season as well, Red Matt won the race on track, and it was Jamie who won it on penalties. We've got the same again, but he's doing enough.
He is doing enough, just about 2.1 the gap. Stays that way. Jamie stays on track, and one of the most remarkable stories of the playoffs is Jamie coming from nowhere to get himself into the Championship 5. What a win for him. And what an unexpected pathway into the Championship 5. He is the first confirmed driver in. Red Matt 2nd, Kieran 3rd. I'd almost want to say that those two are near enough there now as well. Jamie Griffiths in 4th place, ahead of Jake in 5th. That sets up a decent end to the chase next week. Casper in 6th. A good recovery from where he was, and especially with Corey deciding to smash himself into the wall. Iceman behind Connor. 8th place for Iceman. It would be a real shame to see him drop out, but he hasn't really had a good race today. And then Gareth 9th. MK Boyd 10th. Michael 11th. Ben, Yuri, Jess, and OKK. What a dramatic race.
Well, Mr. Postseason for a reason, isn't he? That is his 9th. Well, put it this way, Jamie now moves to 14 all-time wins, but 9 of those are in postseason races. That's a crazy stat. And if you ever heard the phrase, that was a clutch performance, you've just seen it tonight.
And like I say, it sets up an incredible finale for Japan, because there's going to be so many stories. I just can't believe Jamie, who was asleep at 7 p.m, was missing this.
He was asleep at 7:03 p.m.
Jacko held back the lobby for him, and it's a good thing he did, because Jamie is our first driver into the Championship 5. What?
And as well, that is 5 playoff drivers winning the last 5 races, by the way. We went Casper, we went to Corey, we went to... Oh no, Jamie Wright, he did win Brazil, didn't he? We forget that.
Yeah,
He's won 2 of the last 3.
You wouldn't think it if I've been talking about it, but it's just he had such a bad start to the playoffs. And he's really recovered it, and he's coming clutch tonight. It means he can have a chill time next week, and oh my goodness. It's just, it's amazing, this league, honestly. It's surprising me every time we race that we somehow end up with utter chaos and surprise. Somehow Jamie winning the race is a surprise to us, but there you go, he's won the race. Red Matt 2nd, Kieran 3rd, and then Jamie Griffiths in 4th. Both Jamies had such a good day in their championship campaigns. Jake 5th, Casper 6th, Connor 7th, Iceman 8th, Gareth Hall 9th, and then NK Bourne 10th. Michael O'Sullivan in 11th, then we've got Ben Spurs 12th, Yuri 13th, Jess 14th, OKK 15th, Keenan 16th, and then the retirements, Pete, Corey, who I still can't believe he actually did that, Arnold, and Leroy. Oh, what a race we're going to have next week in Japan. You do not want to miss it. Last time we had a proper dramatic race at Japan was when Kieran was leading with a couple of laps to go and spun off. And that was a massive 4-car scrap for the win on that day. It was where Kyle picked up at the whim, I believe. And yeah,
correct.
If we can have anything as dramatic as that this season, it's going to be incredible to watch. So you have got to be there.
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly pick up on the fact that Iceman picked up the fastest lap at a crucial point, maybe, because at the moment it's going to be between him, Corey, and Casper, fighting over what is 4th place, the last Championship 5 spot for the playoffs. Kieran, Redmat, and Jamie. Well, Jamie's on his way. Kieran and Redmat doing the job, doing enough, finishing on the podium. It does leave the other 3 not out, but certainly down. What a race, Owen.
What a race indeed. Well, you know what I'm going to say now. Be here next week. It is going to be the Japanese Grand Prix. We've seen so many races in real life for championships go absolutely haywire here. We're going to have our own go at it. So be there next week. And hopefully the game doesn't crash as well for us. It would be nice, wouldn't it? But thanks for watching, and safe travel, everyone.